if this is the first time that you're leading the team, I think the first and the most important advice that I can give to you is that don't think you're going to do everything perfect. Accept that you will do mistakes. Don't try to control 100%. I've saw so many people that on the first time they're leading, they want to make it so perfect, and they make it a utopia, their team and their goals. You have to accept that there are things that are going to go wrong. And trust me, there is things that always go wrong. If there is nothing to go wrong, you're probably doing it wrong. You have to accept that some things are going to go wrong, and then you have to think that when things go wrong, everyone on the team is there to build it up. Don't think that you are the only one that can solve every problem. Listen to your team. Know your team. Know what's their strengths. Know which people would be the best to solve a certain type of situation. But don't try to control everything. Don't try to control 100%. Don't try to control every email that every person answers to. Don't try to control every idea that every person has, because that's not a team. That's not a team. That's a dictatorship. Trust your team as you would trust your brothers or your family. Trust them.
Well, don't hide your excitement. If that's something you are excited about, show it, because your team will feel it as well. Inform yourself about what it is that you're doing, the cause, and what your end goal is, and make sure you communicate that clearly with your team. Communication is very important from the beginning, and get to know what their end goal is as well. I think it's not great to be too authoritative from the beginning, and to make sure that you first get to know people on a more informal level, and then slowly you can start becoming more of an authoritative person. I think if you're too authoritative from the beginning, people might be a bit overwhelmed and just take it as, oh, this is my boss, but you don't really want to be seen as a boss. You want to be seen more as a colleague. Maybe also just ensure that you always set clear agendas for meetings. These are more nitty-picky things, but they do count. They do really matter. If you come to a meeting and you're not on time and you don't have an agenda set, it can seem pretty unprofessional from your team side. So ensuring that you have these things in order can really improve their kind of vision of you as well.
I feel like now that you're asking me this, I do most things intuitively. I don't give it much thought, I'm starting to realize. But I think if you're about to become a leader and work with a team, is define who you are, what you are really clearly. So I think what a lot of people struggle with as a leader is that they haven't really figured out who they are yet, and so others can too. Like, are you going to be assertive? Are you going to be open? Are you going to be someone who works day and night, or are you more laid back? I think to be a successful leader, and what I'd say would really help you in the short term, is figure out who you are, which might sound simple, but as a student, you're still young, you've just gone through, or you're still in university, but try to spend some time on thinking who you really are. And then once you figure out who you really are, it becomes easier for other people to know who you are. And I think that's a great way to be able to work with others. So before trying to manage others, I'd almost say manage yourself, because I think a lot of people still go from one extreme to the other in terms of who they are, and sometimes they want to be the demanding boss who gets everything, and then other times they want to be the loving and caring person, which is both fine. But I think if you can figure out which side of the spectrum you lean towards more, it's a lot easier for other people to understand you, to follow you, to work with you. And that's something that if I would have gone back a couple of years in time and done again, I would have first spent a bit more time in myself before I spent more time in trying to build an initiative, trying to build a company, trying to bring people on board. I would have just first looked at myself.
Understand that you're the example that you set for your team. If your motivation drops, your team motivation will drop. So always make sure that you understand that you're working together, you're the one setting the example. Be enthusiastic about what you're working on, be passionate about what you want to reach with your team, and make sure that they are heard, that their opinions are considered also in this goal, and be the inspiration for them to work towards that common goal and set the example of what your team should be.
When you get into a leadership position, it can feel like a lot of weight is on your shoulders, and it's important to relax a bit and be able to communicate towards your fellow board or whatever team it is, that this is also new for you, and the things you're uncertain about are okay also to put on the table. It's good to stay open and communicate, because it allows every member to open up. If you really try to put up kind of a shield of being straightforward and certain about everything, it forces others in the group also to portray kind of that same attitude, which is not going to be helpful. You want everything to be expressed, and it's okay to not know all the answers. So my advice would be to not overdo it. You were just the same person as you were before, and you're a team above your individual role.